Hi, this is Shelley with the Gray Wren Sewing and Crafts on Etsy and the Gray Wren Sewing and Crafts on Facebook. I'm making the AppleTree Bunnyhug sweatshirt. For the front and back, I'm going to use a plain peach colored fabric. For the rest of the shirt, I'm using this cute owl pattern. I've got this stretch knit from Joann Fabrics, and this is also a stretch knit from Joann Fabrics. And then I'm going to embroider with these colors, so I think that's a nice complement. For the pattern pieces, I'm going to do the sleeve, that's this piece right back here, the armband ribbings, and the waistband ribbings. Actually, the armband ribbings, I take that back. That's going to be over here because it's going on a printed sleeve. So I'm going to do a plain armband ribbing. Then for the hood, I'm going to do a multicolor. So the inside of the hood will be the plain and the outside of the hood will be the printed fabric. Next, I lay my pattern out on the fabric that I'm going to cut. And I make sure that the grain is going up and down because you want the stretch of the fabric going sideways. So I lay my fabric down with my pattern piece on top. This is a fold on this side because it's my front piece and it needs to be cut on the fold. And then I take my rotary cutter and I just go along my pattern piece and cut it out. So I do that to all my pattern pieces. Once you get all your pattern pieces cut out, you want to take the front pattern piece and you want to add your embroidery. I use embroiderysoftware.com to digitize my own sayings. I downloaded my file from the other software program and I brought it into Sew What Pro. Now I'm going to go to File and Print, and then I'm going to hit Print Template Only and say OK. This will print a template out so I can place it on my shirt for a perfect placement. Next, I take iron-on tearaway and I put it on the back side of the shirt, the front panel, and I iron it on. I fold my shirt in half and I get my half crease here and I lay my graphic on top. So I'm going to put a little line here and a dot right here, and a dot right here on my crosshairs, and a dot right here on my crosshairs. And I'm going to draw crosshairs on this iron-on tearaway fabric. The way I determine my top is, I'm going to take about a 1/2 inch seam allowance here, and I usually like about 1 inch from the top. So you just got to visualize your 1/2 inch here, and then where you want your design to start. On my hooped stabilizer, this is Sticky Stabilizer by Sulky, I draw my crosshairs. I put my crosshairs on there with invisible ink. This is my invisible ink. So next I want to lay my fabric down on my hoop. And what I did was line up. I went ahead and redrew this one in purple so you could see. I line up my lines here. And my lines here. And my side lines. And here's the other side line. Next, I take my template that I printed out and I scotch tape it on top of here so that when I take it over to my embroidery machine, it won't move. I have a PRS 100, but this can be done on any machine. But you want to make sure if you don't have a red dot that you're at least lining up your needle to the center, and then you take this off. When I use knits, I use a ballpoint, the Smelts ballpoint needles to make sure that I don't put holes in my fabric. So now I'm going to get ready to embroider. After you clean your iron-on tearaway off of the back of your design, it'll look like this. And then you lay Tender Touch iron-on top of it. And the beauty of making your own shirt is that you can actually extend the Tender Touch all the way out to the corners and sew it in when you do your seams. If you don't want to waste it, then you can just iron it on right here, but I prefer to take it all the way to the edge when I have the opportunity and sew it in after I iron it on. Next, you take a cuff, you open it up, and then you fold it long ways. I pin mine a lot because the knits stretch and move, and the pins help prevent it from moving. You can clip yours if you wish. Now we need to sew a 3/8 seam allowance right along this edge. Once I sew that, I'm going to take it to my serger and serge it as well. I'm going to sew down the side of the cuff. Just following my guide. Now I'm going to serge down the side. And you just follow that all the way down. The key is, you'll know that you have it wrong if you can't stretch your material like this. This is the grain, this is the stretch. Once I've done my 3/8 seam allowance and I've serged, then I want to roll the cuff up and have it match up here at the ends, and it will look like this when you're done with it. For the waistband, you fold with right sides together, 3/8 seam allowance and serge. And then you fold it so that wrong sides are together like this, and you have the bottom of your shirt. So next I took my hood pieces, I put them right sides together. This is my lining, this is the outside, and I sewed 3/8 seam allowance and serged just around the outer edge. So that's your next step. Okay, next I take my lining of my hood and I turn it so that my wrong sides are together, and I keep my outside of my hood the same way. Then I slide my lining into the right side of this hood. I want it to go inside here and make it one. So now I have it pinned to where my lining is inside of my outer hood with right sides together, and I pinned from the lining side because it's a little bit more slipperier. And this way I can gauge it as I'm sewing and it doesn't slip out of place. So now I'm going to do a 3/8 seam allowance all the way around and serge around this front piece right here. Turn your hoodie right side out and then just top stitch along the edge. Mine's only about 1/8 of an inch out. It gives you a nice clean finish on the hood. Okay, the sleeve pattern has a definite front and a back side to it. So you look at the pattern and make sure it's marked correctly. And this is the front of your shirt. So you want to pin along the front of your sleeve, and then you want to sew and serge. Then you do the same thing with the back piece. When you have your fronts and backs sewn together with the sleeves, it will look something like this. Then next you want to pick your shirt up, wrong sides, put wrong sides together, and we're going to sew down the side seams. So you put the fronts to backs together, and then sew down your side seams, and that will close up your shirt. So you pin your right sides together along the sleeve and the side. You stitch a 1/4 or 3/4 inch seam allowance and then serge, and it will look like this when you're done. Now's the time to attach the hood. So you take the right side of the hood, because this is the lining, with the right side of the shirt, right sides together. You start at the back center seam and you pin all the way around until you get to the front. And then at the front there is a center seam here, right here. You'll see the line go up, and the line should match with the crisscross here, and you will have the end of the hoodie here and the end of the hoodie here, and your center pen line. So this is the center of your shirt. It's kind of hard to see in this video, but you have about a finger space right here between the end of this hoodie and the end of this side of the hoodie. About a finger space. And then we stitch it on with a 3/8 seam allowance and then serge. When you're done sewing, before you serge, turn your shirt right side and out and make sure that you like where it crisscrosses, and then you can serge and finish off. So there's it looks really nice and professional. If you don't have a serger, you can always zigzag your edges together. Next, you take your waistband and you put a pin on the side seam, and then on the opposite side you fold in half and put a pin here, so that when you unpin it, you've got a pin here and here. So this would be the front center, back center, side seam when you go to place it on your shirt. And that way you can do an even stretch in between seams, in between pins. I'll show you here in a second. Okay, so I have my side seams pinned and my centers pinned, and you will notice that you have more shirt than you do band, so you have to slightly stretch the band only, not the shirt, the band only in between pins to make it fit when you sew. Okay, I always sew with my shirt on the base, my ribbing on the top, and you see it's got a lot of slack right here. So as I'm sewing, I gently stretch this top piece only. As I sew, I just pull a little and sew a little, pull a little and sew a little, but I do not pull this bottom layer here, just the top layer, and it's just a slight stretch until I get to my next pin. Then I do the same process over. Then I pull a little bit more, and it will look like this. And if you don't have a serger, just zigzag that. And then this is what it looks like at the bottom. With my cuffs on the inside, I place 4 pins, just like I did on the waistband. So I have one here on my seam and one straight across. I have another pin on this side and another pin on this side. So I'm going to take my cuff and slide it into my sleeve, and then I'm going to match up the 4 areas on my shirt as well. So I'll have a seam here, one in the front, side and side, and I'll match those pins. And then when I go to sew, I'll slightly stretch around the armband, just like I did the waistband. So you can slightly stretch your armband, and it should look something like this. And then I sew from the inside, so my presser foot will go right here and sew all the way around. So I'm on the inside of my cuff. I sew a little and stretch a little. Sew a little and stretch a little. After I'm positive that I caught all my layers, then I serge the inside, or you can zigzag, and then I turn it right side out. Once you're done, you turn it in right side out and you are finished. I love this pattern, the AppleTree sewing pattern, Bunnyhug Grow With Me. It is an adorable, adorable sweatshirt. You can see on the right side, that's where the sleeve is rolled up, and that would be size 6. And on the left side, the armband is rolled down, and that would be your 8-9 size. So it is a Grow With Me. I love it. I hope you like it, and I hope you enjoyed sewing along with me. If you like what you see, please subscribe below, hit the like button, and don't forget to comment if you would like me to make more things. I'd be happy to do so. Just let me know what you're interested in.